Americans have one of the lowest voter turnouts of any developed democracy across the world, according to Dominowski, an economic journalist, published in the National Public Radio, November 8th, 2018. Americans like us are soon going to be eligible to vote or are eligible to vote now, and we can be part of the solution to this problem. Americans need to be more involved in the democratic process. First, I'll be telling you why the lack of voting is a problem, and then second, I will tell you about a potential solution, pre-registration for tax credits. On the first point, the lack of voting is a problem because democracies require physical support in order to function. And our democracy fails in this in three main pillars. The first of which is voter turnouts. The United States lacks legitimacy because it's missing voter turnouts. The second is young support. And the third is poor methods to gather voters. On the first point, the lacking of legitimacy is seen as a weakness by many countries when there's low democratic turnout, according to Ryan. Ryan being a studier of elections, or a psephologist, published in the Georgetown Public Policy Review, October 23rd of 2018. People like him don't agree what causes this. However, many people blame it on their vote not counting, according to Dominowski, which weakens legitimacy even more. With that, it's no wonder that only 25% of people aged 19 to 22 voted in a recent election, according to Holben and Hilligus. Holben being an associate professor of political science, and Hilligus being a professor of political science, published in the American Journal of Political Science in October of 2017. They say that there is no specific reason that people don't vote. However, according to Singh, an associate professor of the School of International Affairs, published in Political Studies in August of 2015, Americans tend to not vote because they don't get prompted enough. They don't get told that they should, or told where or how. Some people would blame the Americans on that, but I blame the methods. The methods are failing to gather minority and young voters, according to Ryan, as previously cited. And according to a professor of the PhD in advertising, published on Social Behavior and Personality, International Journal, in December of 2017. Americans are not affected by changing their vote by political advertisements, celebrity endorsements, or political endorsements, meaning that the methods fail to actually gather voters. With all three of those pillars failing, it's no wonder that our democracy has a lack of voters. Now that I've told you about the lack of voting and why it's a problem, let me now tell you about pre-registration for tax credit and how it may be a solution. It goes about this in two main ways. The first of which is that it gathers support early. And the second is that people will change their behavior in order to benefit from tax credits. On the first point, with changing people's behavior, people who pre-register for voting already have an 8% higher chance of turning up than people who do not, which is significant, according to Holben and Hilligus, as previously cited. And according to Singh, giving people an incentive to vote will make them remember voting and vote when the time comes. On the tax changes causing people to change behavior, I have two real-world examples. The first of which being Trump's tax cuts in 2017. According to Wack, with his master's in journalism, published in the American Banker, December of 2017, Americans changed their behavior in order to benefit from the tax cuts, and are continuing to change their behavior in the times to come. With those things, people might wonder how this applies to voting. Well, with other countries, they have mandatory voting laws, where they have taxes on those who do not vote. I will be proposing the opposite, where you give a reward to those who vote, and don't fine those who do not. But either way, with mandatory voting laws, voting is around 95%, according to Singh. And their voter turnout is seen as legitimate by other countries. Now that I've told you about the lack of voting and why it's a problem, and I've told you why pre-registration for voting credit is a potential solution, let me now conclude. Americans need to become more involved in the democratic system. So next time you're considering whether or not to vote, remember what Domanowski said at the beginning, that America has the lowest voter turnout of any developed democracy. And think, do I really want to be part of that statistic?